Very good morning, guys. This is Kapil from InfoGiants, and today I'm just sharing all my experience with Laravel. So I'm trying to make a series of Laravel tutorials. There I'll be sharing whatever I have learned in past 3-4 years working in Laravel, and so we will start with the basic concepts of it. And this tutorial series will be having uh, lots of videos about Laravel different architectures and how we can develop customized applications easily with the Laravel. So let's get started with the initial and the very first episode of it. So I'm just sharing my screen and let's get started. So agenda of this video is we will learn about the basic directory structure of the Laravel, what are the different folders available when you install Laravel, and where you can make controllers, what are the controllers, where can you make models, what are the models, and all the technical stuff and very basic things about the Laravel. So let's get started. So this is the virtual machine, Ubuntu machine I'm running, and I have a Laravel project set up here. So I'm just opening its code base and will navigate you through the project, different directories. All right, let's go to the project directory. So this is my Laravel application. As you can see on local, I have your uh, complete permission to the project. We should give 755644 permission, but I just gave it to the complete. Anyway, moving to the my project URL. So it is storemanager.com, and this is the HTML template that I integrated in the Laravel. This is something that I'm right now working on, and it is also available live. It is a kind of some portal created in Laravel. So let's get moving to the code in the Laravel. So whenever you install the Laravel using Composer, so we can install Laravel like go to the Laravel website, installation. There is an installation link. Let's go to that. So installation via Composer. This is the way I prefer. So you install Composer on your Linux machine. Sudo apt get install Composer. After that, you can create your Laravel project like this. You can define the folder name. So here I define the folder name storage store manager, and PHP artisan shell command is just to run your application without creating virtual host file. I believe you know about creating virtual host or domain names on the local. So we can install the Laravel using this command. After that, this directory structure will be created. So Laravel composer JSON file will have Laravel packages, framework, and everything, and it will install all the dependencies that Laravel has. Moving ahead, let's take a look into the files available here. So there is a .env file. This file is the contains the configuration, app name, environment, local, production, app key. It is for the encryption of the configurations. Debug mode you can enable, disable. Log level you can set. The URL of your project. It is a database connection detail. Rest of the details you can ignore for now. For the mail driver, you can set your uh, SMTP details here for the login, and if payment gateway, then you can set the details here. So this is the environment file, and pretty much it is the only thing that we need to interact with. And moving ahead, we have the app folder. So inside app folder, you see there is HTTP folder. In HTTP, inside that there is a controller folder. So inside controller folder, we have all the controllers. So controllers are basically, you can say, a class which whenever we submit some form from the website, Laravel website, the form data goes to controller. It has different actions. So let's take an example and see this controller. So it will be having the namespace. After then, we will import the model for this contact entity, request object, validator object for validating our post data, and authentication of SADAs for checking if user is logged in or not. So the contact controller, I mean, you can create these classes using inbuilt CLI Laravel. So you can check PHP artisan. So PHP artisan command list all the CLI commands available for the Laravel. So you can create the controllers using this. There's options: make controller, make model, make observer, make request resource. So there are lots of options available for generating these classes. But after generating these classes, you have to write your custom code for validating your data, or might be if you need to do some customizations. And this is pretty much about it. And there is migrate command. So migrate command is for creating your database tables that you define in the migrations. You can populate these tables with some test data as well. So this is about the migrations. This is about if you need to clear the routes, cache, etc. Clean of that. And if you change in any configuration, you can run config cache. So it will clean the config cache, and you can clear the cache of the application as well using cache clear. So these are the pretty much common commands that you can run. So moving to the controller file. So in controller file, you will have different methods. You define construct method. So you can apply some middlewares. There you can check if the user is authenticated and the user roles is a specified role. Then only this controller class will execute. So let's take example of index method. Index method is generally whenever you hit a URL, so you define the URLs in the routes, and in the routes folder there are API, channel, console, web. So these API for the if you create APIs, channels for broadcasting, console is for if any console application, and if you are creating a web application, you can define your application routes inside the web.php. Inside the web.php, you can define route like route gate, route post, route resource as well. In the case of resource, it will consider all the requests like listing, add, edit, delete. So this is pretty much you can bind a middleware to routes as well. If these routes will be accessible only if user is authenticated, then you can do something like that. And for the route, first is the uh, slug of the URL or whatever you put after a URL of your application. Then second thing is the name of the controller, and you can also define particular method using @index, and you can also give a name of this route. So you can use this name in the view files, like form action. If you need to define, then you can do something like that. So this is pretty much about routes. So we define every route in the application inside the web.php for a web application or a website. So moving back to the controller file, contact controller. Inside this, you see we are checking if authenticator user role is admin. Then from the contact model. So model is inside this app directory. You see the model file here. So Laravel models are just nothing much. This is extending the model class, and we are just here defining what are the fields model expect whenever we submit the or add request. If we are adding a contact, then it will check in the request that user ID should be there, first name should be there. So these are the required fields, or these fields should be always present whenever you are adding or updating a contact. So this is a fillable field that we define here in the model. Nothing much more about in the models. So moving back to the controllers, as you can see here, we are fetching all the contacts and paginating those four. After four records, it will uh, show us pagination. So this is the context, and in case of user, we are fetching the context for a particular user, and we are applying order by descending ID, etc. And after fetching these records, we are sending this data compact context. It will just create an array of this context and sending to contact.index view file. So this view file presents in the folder. There is a resources folder. Inside that there is a view folder. Let me zoom my screen so you will able to see it more properly. Yeah. So there is a view folder, then context. That means we have to go to contact folder and index. So we have to go to index file. So in index file, as you can see, we are importing sub best template, and this is the way of you can say extending or reusing the existing view file. So we are extending the best template, and we are just setting some sections there, like we are setting title this one, and in the main section we are setting this content. So contact, there is some HTML. If there is error success in the session, then we are showing this is the root of contact.create that I earlier mentioned. And here like this we are getting contacts, and we can loop the contacts and get our data like first name, email, etc. And yeah, this is pretty much. And for the showing pagination after ending of the loop, for each loop you can do something like contact uh, and links, so it will generate the pagination for this. So let's check it out how it is showing in the backend. So this is my project, and let's log in with some of the user. All right. So moving to contacts, let's create some contact. Test user about it is email validation. So in you see in the add contact it is showing some email validation. So let's move to the add contact controller file. So in the contact controller we have different methods for creating this method contact.create. So what this happens whenever we context create, then this form is loaded. So this form is coming from context.create. So we can check that contact.create. So this is the form rendered, uh, and here are all the things. Contact.store is the name of the method. So let's move to contact controller back. Okay, so this is the store method. So form is rendered using this, and whenever you submit the request, the data get validated and stored in the model using this method. So here you can see the first thing is validator. So we are getting all the data posted in the request and validating that. And we can apply validation like this. For the first name key, it should be required, it should be string, and maximum it could be 255 characters. So we can apply multiple validation using the pipe operator. Second, the field is last name, we have some validation. Email, we have required string email, unique. So this is one interesting fact is you can also check if email is not duplicate in the context. So you just apply unique and the name of the model context. So here is the validator object, and we are checking if validator fails. That means one of the validation or more than one of the validations are failing, then the validator fails return true. So if validator is failing, we are redirecting user to again the create page with errors. And for the errors, we are passing the validator object. So and the input as well. So previous field values will also populate in the form, and the errors will show since we are looping the session errors on the view page. After if everything goes okay, then our program execution will come to this place. Here we are creating the object of the contact model. We are setting the user ID, current user ID, logged in, first name, last name, about whatever we are getting from request. We can get the value like this. After saving the contact saved, we are redirecting user to contacts listing page with success message. So let's get going. So after this, I click to add contact. Yeah, you see we are on the contacts index listing page. So let's try to add one more contact. I am putting the same email address just to check if the unique validation works or not. The email has already been taken. You see, so that is pretty much working as well. We have two contacts. We can edit the contacts as well, similar way. For the edit, there is another method edit. We find the contact by ID, then we are redirecting to contact edit page. If ID is incorrect, we are redirecting to listing page. It's a message, something like that. And for updating the contact, there is update method. We are doing the same thing. We are finding the contact. We are making the validations again, repeating the same stuff. Setting the property in the contact object, saving the contact and redirecting. So we can update like this rest updated couple. Click on update. It is updated, and you can see the information is updated as well. Isn't this very simple? So let's add more context in this and test it out if the pagination shows or not. Since we have put some limit of pagination 4 there, right now it is not showing. We have added 4 context. After this, I think pagination should show. Let's check it out. Yep, you see, we have most recent or context. Since these are descending by ID, so 5, 4, 3, 2, and the one first contact is on the page number 2. So we have the pagination as well. So it is pretty much simple. We can create a grid, add, edit, very simple. And for let's check about delete. So in delete, we have a method here, destroy. So it takes an argument as ID, find the contact by ID. If contact found, then it deletes it and redirect to the contact listing page. So there we can also apply some validations. Right now it is just deleting if contact found. We can check if this contact is created by the current logged in user. If not, then we can put some validation here as well. So let's check the delete, how delete works. Yeah, we click on delete and contact deleted. That's it. So this is pretty much simple thing about it. There are you see different methods. Constructor is for checking if user is authenticated. Role is admin or user. Index is for listing of the records. Create is for showing the create form. Store is for actually validating request and storing the data. Show is if you want to create a view page of the contact, you can do it here. In edit, we show the edit page with the pre-filled data. In update, for the pre-filled data, you can see we are on the context edit page. We are sending this contact information. So from this information or object, we can get the existing data of the contact object. So moving to another method, update. It is for updating the contact. Destroy is for deleting. So this is pretty much about how you can manage the CRUD operation inside the Laravel. Let's talk about middlewares. So since we have used the middleware here, you can see the auth, verified, role. So let's check about these authenticate middleware. So yeah, so these auth and verified middlewares are Laravel core middlewares. So in this, if we are not authenticated, then it will redirect back us to login. So there is nothing more we customize about it. As you can see, auth card, check. It redirects to home page if we are not authenticated. So let's check the contact controller. We have used the auth facade for this, and another is role middleware, that is a custom middleware. So check the role middleware. In this, you see we are handling the request, next, and the role. We are checking if the current user roles is not in the role array or might be a different thing, different role. Then we are redirecting the user to the landing page or the root page. So similarly, we can do that for our customized middlewares. So middleware are the, we can say, they intercept the request in between if like you are navigating to some protected page. So they will check the condition that you mentioned in the middleware, and if the condition fulfilled, they will navigate request where it was going originally, and if not, you can redirect the user or do some specific actions. So this is pretty much about it. Config, there are different configurations available. Laravel configurations, you can define your cache, database, file system, logging, queue session. In the database, let's talk about migrations. So these migration classes you can create using PHP artisan migrate command available here. Migrate like make migration, and you can provide the class name. So it will create a similar like this the current date underscore uh, create order table, or whatever name you will give, like you give the name permission, so it will create the create permission table.php file. And these files entry Laravel stores in the its core migration table. Let me show you that. So there is a migration tables in Laravel. It is stored this information like what are the different migrations created by Laravel. So it might possible that sometime you need to remove these files that is created here. So you have to delete it from this table as well, or until it will throw some error. So yeah, this is pretty much about it. So how we can let's take our contact table migration. So inside this, these are the standard classes packages. The name of the class. There are two methods, up and down. So in up method, you create table. You define table columns, increments ID, unsigned integer user ID. It is a foreign key for the user table. First name, last name, about. You can define the different data type, string, text, and the timestamp it is created or updated. For the foreign key, you define like this table foreign key user ID. It references ID column on the user's table, and on delete, it will also get deleted. So it will just to make the data consistency. In the down, you always drop table exist in the name of the table. This is pretty much simple stuff. So whenever you will run PHP artisan migrate command, it will create the database table if it is not created. Another thing is if you need to put some dummy data inside this table, then you can create seeders. So for creating a seeder, there is a command PHP artisan max seeder. You can name the class. So like I have created this permission table seeder class. So what it does, it just load the model, permission model, and create new object output and set the required columns value. You can set it manually. You can loop, put a loop, and dynamically generate these values something and save it. So you can create different seeder class for different models. And after that, there is a main file database seeder. Inside that file, in the run method, you need to call different classes that you have created. So you need to put that in a sequence. Like first you need to create permission, then I think you need to create roles and users. So you can call different seeders in the sequence that you want. So whenever we run PHP artisan migrate command, then it will create our tables and it will also seed our the test data that we want to put inside this database tables. This is about the database migration. Moving to next thing like storage folder. So if you will work with the image upload and everything, then the storage folder, there will be a public folder will be created and your default images will be loaded inside the directory if you go with the default upload. Some of the cases that possible that it is your image are not showing, so you can just go to the storage folder and remove the public folder. Then after that you can run the command storage link, php artisan storage link. So it will create like it's a symbolic link and your image will start showing after uploads. So the route is for defining route, storage folder in the inside this public folder, and your image file will be stored. Take an example. Let me show you that. Like I'm going to this store. Let me upload this different image. Okay. Okay. Let's go to storage folder, cd app. There is a public folder inside the app, and you can see these images stored here. So inside the storage app, I was mentioning the storage, but inside storage app, there's a public folder, and you might like I have created a different folder as well, so you can define that as well inside your code. But if you want define, then it will store inside the storage app public folder. So you can remove this folder and again do the storage link command, and that will help image not showing issue. Yes, yeah. So this is for the storage link, and resources, routes, resources for the views, routes for creating the application routes, storage for the where images or files get stored. Public folder is something that we don't touch. It is for the Laravel application CSS. You can define some custom CSS and include in your index.php file if they are going to be used inside the whole project. The database is for the migration and seeders. Configuration are different. Configuration can make different configuration of their database. You can see. But generally, Laravel gives preference to the environment file. If you define something here, then it will take it from here. If you want define, then it will go check inside the configuration folder if you have defined the details here. Bootstrap is nothing we can change here. I mean, we don't usually change anything here. These are the models. Some of the providers. So providers classes are Laravel core classes, and we can also have our own providers as well. Laravel. These are the controllers. These are the exception. We can create some custom exception classes. In the console, you can also create some console classes, console command if you want to use that. So for the web application, I have pretty much explained what are the different folders and files that we are going to use, and we have to use to create the grid like this that will have different edit, delete, update data. Let's see an example. You see different data you can see here. And you can integrate any template in the Laravel. Just you need to follow this kind of stuff. So like for listing, you have to send data. Add every delete, you have to send data. Write some controller model view, and that is pretty much simple thing about the Laravel. So I'll be sharing this information in my blog post, and I'm working on some open source project right now, and definitely once that is get completed, then I'll be sharing the source code with you as well and update it in the description. So thanks for watching and enjoy your day. Bye bye. And one more thing, just don't forget to subscribe. You can see the subscription button is inside bottom of the video. You click on that and you can visit our website InfoGiants.com for more tutorials and blog posts. And you can also check out some of the cool free plugins and the free softwares available on the website. So do let me know if you have any queries, questions in the comments. I'll be really happy to help. Thanks for watching. Till then, have a good day.